wisdom and knowledge and understanding to say, you know what, I'm gonna go back to God with this one, and I'm gonna chop it up with God. If he allows you to breathe another day. See, when he allows you to breathe another day, he gave you an opportunity to make things one with him. But what you don't know is God don't like the proud. If you knew anything about that, you would turn aside your wicked ways. It's not about what folks think it's about nowadays, but it's about what God says is about. All that world trumpet stuff, you can yin yang, yappity dap, and all that all day. But the truth of the fact of the matter of it all is this. That you gotta eventually bow to a higher authority, man. It's like my dudes, you really got to get back to the basics. And I say that, in that terminology just for a quick little brief moment, but that's not really what I want to say in that format, because I'm just doing that just to lower myself a little bit, to kind of pick somebody up that's kind of trapped or done in the holes of the adversary, mentally, psychologically, physically, financially. It don't really mean, because you ain't got this, that, and the other right now, that you got to go do something wicked, to try to make it over. Granted that folks do that nowadays, they really, plan it in their heart. They plan it in their heart. Well, look, I gotta do what I gotta do to do what I do. And even if it's gonna get you the consequences, they don't care. They don't worry about it like, well, shoot, man, it's gonna get me consequences. Well, folks like this, I'll tell you this, a lot of people that never really got a degree, get a degree in other stuff. They get their first degree, second degree, third degree. You're either in black belt or they go to prison, and they think that, they accomplished something because they didn't go get their college degree, and that wasn't something they was interested in. So they found another way to get their pictures in a yearbook. And some folks, rather be in that yearbook than God's yearbook more than anything. Why would you want to be in somebody else's yearbook, when you could be all that you can be on the inside of you? Have we ever considered our ways, man? And that's a tough work when you're dealing with people where God delivered you from. It might not have been in a particular area or city or state or even a nation that you are, God is sending you to. It's not like you don't you speak in a different language that they don't understand. They looking for all this. They done all their YouTube videos been backwards. They ain't got none of that right. And the truth of the fact of the matter is that, they really think they got some truth about what they thought they had, but really they won't listen to it. So they go seeking it for themselves, getting partial stuff, and then they think that's the truth, and they go spread that boy like gossip, and they be like, yeah, this what happened, da 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 da. But really, it's not what you really believe, dude. You getting other folks' opinion and you believe in it, but you don't really know who they are. You ain't communicating with them per se. You don't even know if they saying the facts. But because it make you feel good, then you will roll with it. You'll say, well, hey, this is what they said about this particular group or organization, so that's how they are. Well, 9 times out of 10, they may be, but you got a 1% of that they might not be like what you think, so folks had these crazy artifacts in their minds nowadays, which is outrageous. It's outrageous. And as I've got older, man, I feel it all around me. I say, man, God, when you know God, it kind of causes you to get a little, bit more wiser than before. I really had to think to myself, even as I'm doing this C.J.C. Hood News report now, that when my dad was this age, he was doing everything. So I had to say, you know what? I ain't doing that messenger. I'm going to stay in the will of God regardless. And I'm going to make sure that my life is lining up to God. I'm not going to miss God off no foolishness, because of my own understanding or because of some little hardship that I might be going through, or, but anyhow, he shows me how to overcome all of the foolishness, that comes up on you nowadays. And folks have a image of what you should become or what they thought you needed to be or who they thought you was. But you gotta prove folks a lot different. I forgot I told them only God can judge me. So when God put that judgment, because you followed after that, then you begin to wake up a little bit. But then some folks really never get it. Why they frustrated and distressed, and why they doing what they do. They never consider that, I did say only God can judge me. So when he do judge you, they never consider that it was him and not nobody else. He was just relating the message to them that it wasn't far behind, them, the thing that they were seeking and spoken to existence. Folks, that's a whole nother C.J.C. Hood. I could spend hours talking about the only God can judge me, because that's the biggest deception ever. For real. Because God he didn't just say only he gonna judge you. He said all the saints of God gonna judge you. So, that's under the will of God. So, you may not want to be per se. I know I got to a point where I didn't want nobody to tell me nothing. And for some time in my life, I was like that too. I was like, only God can judge me and all that. And then when he judged me, I was like, oh shoot, I don't want to do that no more. I don't want to fall under the hands of an angry God. Oh no, I don't care how stupid. I don't run with none of them. I'm not trying to keep up with them, not trying to drive like them, not trying to smell like them, look like them, none of the above, because God has separated me for his own personal use, for me to be separated. That takes integrity. That's integrity to not go along with nothing and be original with everything. Not to fit in this, that, and the other, even when folks talk Saudi Daisy mess or world trumpet stuff because they're influenced by ancient spirits, that want attention, but you necessarily don't want to be cast out. The spirits that dwell in people cause them to speak and move in certain directions that they don't even know they directed in. And it's like, you don't get what God is trying to get to your head. We don't see it now. Like, man, I feel so sorry for a lot of folks that had just turned aside, and you shouldn't be doing that like that. So what happens is God will say to my heart, you got to do something different now. And that's why I do this, because he has told me to obedience is better than sacrifice. And I'd rather do what God said than lean to my own understanding any time of the day. And that's what I want to help people in the communities and neighborhoods that, can download and upload and all of that other stuff, the message to bring them, people don't even want to come to them no more. That's a bad thing. That's a bad sign when folks already know they about to fall like 40 north, 90 south and all of that other stuff. It's a sad day when you try to tell them like, hey, it's a losing battle. Y'all already lost. It's just a matter of time before everything go rapid. You know what I'm saying?